Hi everyone, this is DDJJ, and this is video 3 of making my game Perdere. Okay, so where we left off is that we implemented the attacks for blocking and the enemy taking a hit. Now, let me just do something real quick. So when the player attacks, there's a block particle because the enemy had the stamina for it. And then this one will be doing a hit because they took damage. And also just noticed that the the particle showing the hit in the actual health bar drain is a little delayed. Like when he attacks, the health bar doesn't really go down at that same moment. So that's another thing that we're going to have to make an adjustment on at some point. Alright. So the agenda that I wanted to do today was implementing the follow-up attack, because we have the follow-up attack animation, so actually putting that in. And honestly, I don't know 100% how to approach that. I'm mostly just going to kind of look at what I got and see where I can kind of fit that in. So it should be in the battle manager, or it's going to be in the battle HUD. Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be in the battle HUD because the battle HUD is kind of where I am calling attacks. Right now we're pressing select to do an attack right here. And it's during this motion, it's during all this, that's when the attack is actually happening. So kind of what we were looking at in the last stream. So since it's been a while since I've looked at this portion, I'm going to have to try to find where like the input is for the player. Because if we're going to do the follow-up attack, that's going to require another input. It's also going to need to kind of wait for the player's input to know, do I need to continue with the follow-up or do I need to not do it because the player didn't input anything. So the way I have it built right now is when the player, and this is basically my selecting the path to get to the attack. So they confirm the enemy, and then when they hit select again, it's going to run the attack. So it's like right now I have it to where it runs the attack. It just runs these animations, but also has, the logic for moving the player back, issuing damage to the enemy. That just all kind of runs automatically, doesn't need any other information. But now I'm talking about if I'm going to be doing a follow-up attack in the middle of that, now I need to have like some kind of like breakpoint in in the middle to say, okay, I need to know, did the player do an input, and if they did, then we need to do this, but if they didn't, then we need to do that. And with that, I just realized something else. So when I was doing follow-up attack or follow-up block, so like for example, I essentially wasted my time because when I did follow-up attack, I did, you know, the player dashes in, player dashes out, does only one attack. But for the follow-up, I also did that the player dashes in, does the 3 hits, and dashes back. But what I just said mechanically won't work with this animation, because I was saying do this animation, stop, wait and see if the player makes another input, and if they do, then do these follow-up attacks. So I actually don't need, so I'm not going to need these frames. Okay, is it actually updating? What's it doing? Yeah, it's like it's deleting them, but it's not really updating them. Now, I will need the exit part. That part I will need. I just didn't need him actually, I didn't need him doing this first hit. Because really the start of this animation should be right here for the follow-up. Okay, so I need to delete these 3. Delete, delete, delete. Yeah, because all I needed was, you know, at this point, if the player presses another input, then he does these additional follow-up attacks. And still does the dash back when he's done. Okay. That should be interesting with the animation playing. And it's also interesting because I'm going to need to develop it so that, you know, this is where it stops. Or this is the point where a decision needs to be made. Did the player press a follow-up attack or not? If they did not, then play out the rest. But if they did, then I need to go into this. I'm just saying it's interesting because I have not attempted like changing the animations in the middle of an animation, so it'll be kind of curious to see what happens. So you'll notice that, you know, I don't need to go back to Aesprite to take those off because I can just, you know, whatever I made in Aesprite and loaded, I can just remove those frames here, so I don't need them. So yeah, so now I just got to do the same with the block as well. So this is no follow-up. That's all fine. Follow-up of blocks. So I think the first 6. 1, 2, 3. Let's do 5 just to make sure. Yeah. Okay. Yep. So that's all I needed for that. Okay. Now, because I realized that, and I was like, wait a second, I'm having him dash in with the follow-up. So that's not going to make sense for what I was trying to think of how this is going to work when I try to code it. So I made those changes. I'm pretty sure the structure didn't get got appropriately adjusted. Yeah, so now it's just follow-up is the beginning of that and then the dash back. Yep. All right, cool. So now I just got to think of, so we go into the attack. I'll just break it down as I'm seeing it, and then talking it out should help me know where I need to put it. So you choose the enemy selected, we go into attack up branch, which is we're going to run attack up. We get the stance, we run attack up with delay. And I did not mean to move the window there. Okay. Alright, we run attack up with delay. We run the attack cinematic, which is now the teleport, which is the, attack dash. Take out some widgets. Okay, so run attack up with delay is really just the dash animation. Run attack up is the actual animation. So, last video we checked the endurance, and that is what determined if we were going to do the hit versus the block. So now what I need to do is it would just be a true or false. Did the player press another input? If they did, run this. If they didn't, then let it play out. So let's do this to test. Can I... Am I taking an input? Because I don't think I am. Oh, what's the name of the note? Calling to debug. Wow, I'm drawing a blank. It's a Friday. Oh, it was right there in front of me. Print string. Oh, it's gonna be a long night. All right, if I can't remember print string, it's gonna be a long night. So I apologize that there's gonna be moments where I'm doing this because I don't remember. Okay, so print string. I'm just doing this because I want to see. No. I need to be checking for input. Okay. And I need to be because if I just print string, the string would have printed with, yeah, duh. Okay. No. We need to go to my character. This is input. I see I have like pressing block, open menu. Let's just do space as a keyboard event, and just print string. Hello. Now we'll say space bar pressed. Okay, see, that should be all I have to do to, all right, I'm gonna need that space. That should be all I have to do to know that I am receiving input in Battlemento. This is Game Mento. This is not Battlemento. Game Mento is out in the game world. So that's why me pressing spacebar is not doing anything. Now we went to Battlemento, and now I can see spacebar being pressed. You may say Game Mento and Battlemento look the same, because they do. Alright, so what I want to check is, when I'm attacking, am I taking input? I'm taking input right now. When I'm attacking, I am taking input. So that's good. I believe, yeah, like I can't go up and down on the menu because I have other conditions in place to prevent that. But I am taking input, so spacebar is block. I'm just thinking of whether or not I want to use a different button or not, because using the same button means you gotta have a lot more conditions in place to check. So I have can block as a condition. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to say can follow up and then do that. And that seems relatively easy to me. Okay. So then we're gonna go to, is it project settings? Input, yep. And we are gonna add follow up. And this will be spacebar as well. I don't know if it's going to remain spacebar, but it's going to be spacebar for right now. Okay. So now I'm going to go back, follow up as an action event. And like with block, so this is one of those moments where I'm like, you know, just make a can follow true or false like you have with block. Okay, these are called Boolean variables in Unreal, so I can call them Boolean. You know, just make a Boolean variable like can block and just call it can follow. I'm just trying to think, is that the best way going forward for what I am planning on doing with this game mechanically? Or should I just make it work? I'm going to say just make it work. Alright. So can follow up for organization. Let me do that. You should probably be up here because you're a game object. You're much more important. So right now I'm saying you press block and you can, then you go blocking. And if you release it, then you release blocking. Don't really need that in this case. Yeah. But I think how I'm going to build block later, that's not really going to apply. Alright, so can follow up, branch. If it's pressed, and that is true, I'm going to need something to talk to the battle HUD to let it know that, hey, the player pressed the follow-up action. So I'm just trying to think the best way to do that. Do I want it to be a variable in here? Yeah. Am I even using this blocking variable? Duh. You are. Okay. Alright, I'll follow the same logic. Follow up attack. Is set to true. For debugging, I will print a string just to make sure that, you know, it is doing what I'm expecting it to do. Just in case something goes wrong, I will at least know that no, I'm pressing follow up and it's following up. Okay. So now we are at the point where it plays the animation. And then attack that branch. It delays itself for 1.1 seconds before it goes back to the instance. Okay, so in the very beginning of run attack up, we're going to get our character. We're going to set can follow up to be blank to make sure that every time we run this process, we are setting it blank. I could do that. No, I think it's better to do it here because run attack up speaks to all of the attack ups, regardless of the stance. I take that back. It will. It's not doing it now, but it will. I would have to call it up regardless. I can either call it here or I can call it here, but I think it just makes sense to call it right here because I think it kind of just makes sense with what you're doing. So we say can follow up is false, so that way it gets reset every time it runs. No. No. Can follow up is going to be false as a default. I just realized I'm going to set it false when the attack is done, so that will serve as the reset. And its default is false, so there's no way that that would get stuck. All right, cool. So now let's just do this. Let's just do it to see that it works, and then we will fine tune it because I'm already thinking that, you know, I have to time it to say at this point in the frame is when you can do the follow-up. But I would need to probably create a timer And then when that timer hits, that's when that's when can follow up can become true. But for right now, we're going to do, as soon as the animation starts, can follow up is true. Just to make sure that the input works and that the animation is doing what we want it to. And then I just have to make sure that it's actually, going to be playing at the right time that I want later. So when the animation starts, can follow up becomes true. So now we need to ask, is follow-up attack true? And this is also default to false. Same thing here. If it's true, that means the player pressed the space bar during the attack. If it's false, we don't care, do what you were always doing. But if it's true, then we need to do the follow-up animation. So this is hit follow-up. And this is block follow-up. And then I have to reduce the endurance some more, but that will come later. We will worry about that later. All right, Q straightens, I remembered that. There we go, straightening. I'm highlighting and pressing Q to straighten out the blueprint line. I almost forgot to connect that. Okay, all right, so, and then let's reset. And let's reset regardless. And in fact, I have a function called battle menu reset. I think this is the perfect place to call those. Can follow up is false. And follow up attack is false. So those will serve as the resets. And since it's in battle menu reset, makes sense, should work. Or I should be able to remember that down the road. All right, let's try it. So I'm expecting it to, when I press space in the middle of the attack, I'm expecting it to play the other animation. Nope. Doesn't look like it's printing anything either. Nope. So there you go. It's not working. And it's not printing. It was not printing follow-up. So that means that was not working. Yeah. So there you go. I was like, I don't need to print a string. I definitely needed to print a string. Because I think it's this part right here that's not working. Only if can follow up is true will this print. Okay, so we're not out of the woods just yet. Can follow up becomes true. So that is when you can run it. Is follow up attack true? So I think this is happening too quick for my input before it even gets to this part. So let's try a breakpoint to see if I can figure that. Let's see if I can see that. I think it's happening too quick for me to press space. All right. Don't need to check that. Let's check this. It was false. So they're doing this. Step into. Oh, didn't mean to step into that. Okay. So current value is false. We step into. Now it's true. Yeah. It's happening way too fast. I was gonna say, can't I see the debug? Yeah, so it's true. And I could press it. And it's with it being pressed. But it's so fast that it's, you know, I can't press it in time with the processing here. Okay. Because, yeah, if I move this print string in the front, and we ignore that, it should print. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I forgot to take off the breakpoint. Okay, so remove breakpoint. Yeah, so it's definitely a case of this is just running way too fast for me to take input. And I cannot call a delay because it's a function. Yep, it's a function, so I can't call delay. So that means that's going to require something's going to have to change with how I've built this so far. All right. I apologize. I was not looking forward to a debugging stream, but that's basically what this is turning into. Well, it's more of a process of building a game and figuring it out. All right, so what do I need to change? I need to like I said, I need to take the player's input at a certain point. I need to develop something that says we're running this and we are waiting to see if the player does an input, and if they do an input, then we can do this follow-up attack. Maybe I just need to set this Okay, so first I just want to make sure that I can get to where the follow-up is true. Alright, so I'm going to take that off. We're still going to check if follow-up is true. Let's do what we want. But I'm going to set it back here. And this will not be how I'm going to ultimately want it. I just want to confirm that when this happens, I think I'll have enough time to actually get the input. Because it's going to do it before the animation plays. Nope, didn't take it at all. Okay, I probably got to do a breakpoint on this right here. Alright, let's see what happens with that now. Cool. Current value is false. Current value is false. Now, why would that be false? I was gonna say, let's wait till there. Step into current value false. What am I forgetting? I know what it is. It's because it runs this battle menu reset, which resets that. And it's faster than when I can touch it because I don't have any delays in here. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So I don't need this breakpoint anymore. I'm going to take these out of here. So what I think was happening is that, yes, I set this to true, but I have 0 delays in this entire logic. So it goes through all of it. And it automatically does the battle menu reset before the animation even starts playing. It just goes boom. Because see, I'm thinking like, oh, it's waiting for the animation to play. No, it's not. It's playing the animation, but it's not waiting for it. So it just automatically goes boom. All right. and then it actually delays right here for 1.1 second. So yeah, that's what was happening, pretty sure. So if I reset it here as Battlemento, so that means I can say can follow up is false and follow up attack is false. So these are my resets. My resets are now after a delay. Now I think it will run. So I set it to true. It delays for 1.1 second before it sets them back to false. So now I think I can do it. Now I think it's going to play the animation. Now it's going to look wonky. It's not going to look correct because I'm not timing it in the right spot. And even then, might have been too fast. All right, so I'm just going to spam it. And okay, so it was printing follow-up. So it was quote unquote working. Yeah. Okay, so now we know this part is working. But now it's the same thing where this processing is too fast. And I can't delay it inside the function. So I may just have to do this here. I'm at least going to try and see if that works. Okay, so I'm gonna take break, don't worry about you anymore, go back to this, same thing down here. I could just call this function again. I mean, it's not exactly the best in terms of processing, but I could call it again, unless I want to save the variable. I'm thinking that if I don't call this here, I'm gonna have to call the endurance check again because I need to know, am I blocking or am I hitting? So I was just thinking that I can do that, but now we got 2 times of calling the endurance check, when maybe I can just make this a variable and just use that variable for the blueprint, because I think that'd be better processing. That's done, because every little bit will matter. Let me at least move these out of the way, put these back. Now I know what I can do. No, I can't do that with a function. I know what I can do. So I'm going to put these out here for right now, because I'm thinking that's where I'm going to need to call that. So I am going to do a variable. I'm going to try a local variable that's going to say block. And we are going to output that. Okay, so it defaulted to black when I'm trying to type block. Okay, thought I was going crazy. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I typed block. Name cannot be empty. Block conflicts with another local variable. What am I forgetting? Input would mean it's over here. Output is what I want to send out. But it can't have the same name. Admin to BP. Okay, all right. I'll just say block output. Block output. There you go. And there we go. Oh, I didn't know it did that. If you miss, then it adds the pin automatically. And it wanted to do block 1. Yeah, well, I'll just call this block output. And I'm going to kind of readjust this to make it look a little bit better. Okay, so we're sending out block output, and this will actually set block. And then we just go by block. Well, I don't want to call it block then. I want to call it hit because I'm asking for the opposite. So hit is true, you run hit. If hit is false, you run block. So this will actually be called hit output. All right. So now that way, I only have to call this once. I store it in a local variable. It may not work with the output. We'll see. I don't know if I've tried a. Yeah, see here it is. Attack up branch. That is a macro. You cannot do local variables with macros, so that would have to be a variable out here. But I can connect it, so. I think I'm going to need some more space, so that's what I'm doing here. Sure. Yeah, I might get a little spaghetti because it's right there at the bottom, but we'll see. Okay, so now I know whether or not it was a hit or a block. I am delaying. Well, I'm delaying any other logic from happening. It says run the attack, battle menu reset, wait 1.1 seconds. Run attack up. This stuff happens fast. Goes to this animation. Okay, maybe I can get the timing down already, because I'm already thinking like, if I go to the frames, pause. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So delay 0.6. Because I think 0.1 is each frame when it's 10 frames per second. So delay it by 0.6. Now I can check. I've already made can follow up true back here. And I think that's fine back there. Okay, so you wait 0.6 seconds. Then you determine. Okay, so I don't need 2 of these, at least for right now. All right, let me just start fresh so I can kind of visualize it easier. Okay. Don't need that anymore because now I got this. All right, so we waited 0.6 seconds, which should be 6 frames because I'm doing 10 frames per second. Is follow-up attack true, which would happen if the space bar was pressed. If it's false, continue. If it's true, now we're gonna need this. And this is where I said that it's gonna be spaghetti. I don't think there's any way I can prevent spaghetti unless I create its own variable. And I try my best to not create spaghetti code. I make nice long lines and stretching, but I try to not let them crisscross. Yeah, it's like I hate it when it crisscrosses. But I may just do it just to get it done, just to see that it works. All right, let's come up here. Create some room. Let's flip you too. I really don't need that return node. I was just being cheeky, I think, when I made it. But it's like, I really don't need it. I can just use it out here with that. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do, actually. I'm going to break that. Put it right here. There. Because it's the same game object that it would have been talking to, so. Same blueprint, I should say. It's the same blueprint that's going to be talking to, so that's all you need right there. Okay. So then I can remove you. That is the only spot where that's called, right? Yeah. Well, let me go to the event graph and run it one more time. Yep, okay. All right. So just outputting hit because if follow-up attack is false, go ahead and do this. Continue. And I'm going to need those 0.5 seconds back. So delay, because I got rid of them by changing that from a 1.1 to a 0.6. So I would need those 0.5 back. So there you go. Now it's back to 1.1 delay as it was before. So now we're going to say if this is true. Trying to lower the spaghetti, but this is going to crisscross no matter what. And I need more room. All right, cool. There you go. So you're not so yeah, so I mean there's going to be that right there, but otherwise it's going to be okay. So is follow-up attack true? If it's true, that means the player pressed the space bar. Is hit true? If hit is true, then the animation we need to play is follow-up hit. If it's false, we play follow-up block. And we would still delay the same 0.5. We wouldn't change that. No, sorry, we might. Yeah, we might change that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I could have just counted it at the bottom. Yeah, I think it is going to be 0.9 seconds instead. Delay 0.9 seconds. Spread this out more. It's starting to get a little ugly, but I can do that. Push that back. Go here. All right, moment of truth. I'm going to be getting some water regardless of what happens, but let's see. Let's hope that it works. Because then I think we are one step getting that done. Alright, I'm expecting it to do the follow-up animation when I press the space bar. Success! We did it, boys! And now let's see that it also does the hit version. Hey! We did it. That feels pretty good. Let's see what happens if I spam it. I thought it was going to break. I thought it was going to cut into the second animation when I started pressing it, but it actually did it properly. Like, it actually waited for, well, let me look at it again. Yeah, it actually waited until the first animation was done, and then it did the follow-up. Wow. So yeah, it pretty much did what I was hoping for it to do. That's awesome. I honestly thought that part was going to be a little bit tougher, getting the timing exactly right, but no, it actually worked. So breaking down why it worked, because if I'm delaying it for 0.6 seconds, and that was these frames up to the first attack, right here. So 0.6 seconds. Since I delayed the code from doing anything, it effectively allowed me to say, okay, was the follow-up attack now pressed? And then if it was, now you do the second animation, and if it's not, then you follow through with the original. Awesome. I was thinking I was going to have to create a timer event. When that timer event expires, that's when you can do the follow-up, but okay. I actually learned something from this process working, so awesome. I'm just looking at this, and yeah, we have one crisscross wire here. We got one right there, which I can easily fix that just by duplicating that. But otherwise, it's good. The other good thing is that creating this local variable and only having to call this once, that worked like a charm. And all the follow-ups got reset. So like when I do attacks, if I don't press, so I'm going to press spacebar here, do the follow-up, and then if I don't press anything, it should only do the one. Yep. So it properly reset. So now I want to make sure that, like, it's too late, you can't press it. Yeah, it's too late, can't press it. When you press it, it doesn't do anything. So you can, so like, if I do the attack, I press spacebar right now. Okay, no, that was too fast. Let me try it again. If I press spacebar right now, then it does the follow-up. So it's still not the best timing, because I kind of want to make it to where you know, when you press the follow-up attack, it you know, if you press it too early, it doesn't do anything, and because, you know, it just doesn't seem right that you should be able to issue a follow-up attack when he hasn't even, like, swung the first attack yet. Like, I kind of want to make it to where when he swings the first attack, the first sword swing, that's when the player can say, okay, I want to do a follow-up, so they hit the follow-up, and then it executes it. So, and like, I can do that. Like, if I do wait and the attack happens and then I press it, so it does work, but it's just also allowing it to where, you know, if I just press it right there, it still kind of waits for the dash to get through. But see, I did press it before he actually swung the first swing. So I'm thinking, is that more of a down the road refinement? Because I'm kind of okay with it right now. It's not... Well, okay, so I should say this as, when I am ready to have people play test this game, I will need to get that fixed. Because, you know, that's something to where it's like, I don't want that to happen on a first play test. So, but do I need to do it tonight? Not necessarily. I'm kind of happy with what it's doing right now to move on. So I think that takes care of agenda item number 1. Because my new attacks were these, and right now they are all working. They block, they play the block particle when they need to, they play the hit particle when they need to, and I can do a follow-up when I wanted to. So, yeah, block particle. Yep, block particle. No, wait. That should have been a hit particle. Okay, I need to restart that and see what happened. See if I can replicate. Well, it's not going to replicate because I do have some random values on the damage. I'm not sure what happened there. I'm not sure why it played the block particle, but yet he took damage. But before I start thinking going there, at least I've gotten the attacks to work and the follow-up to work. See, it just happened again. Okay. It just happened again on that same third enemy. Okay, it's playing the block particle on the third enemy. That doesn't make any sense. It plays the hit. Alright, so let me restart that. Okay, so it played block, played hit, should play hit on the second, which it does, And now it's going to do block on the third. That is so weird. So there's something wrong with the third enemy in terms of checking its endurance. And yet his health is going down. Okay, it's opposite, because it just did the hit animation when he had enough endurance to block. But it's not backwards in the very beginning. Okay, so something is not being reset is what I think is happening. So I think that hit variable is not being reset. But yet it gets ran every time you run the attack. So even though it's not resetting, it should be setting a new value. All right, well, let's do a breakpoint and find out, because it's not working. Yep, so skip this one. Resume, because it's not that one that I care about. It's going to be this one. All right. Hit is false. Okay, I should have stepped into that. So I guess it's not selecting the correct enemy. Skip this one. All right. So yeah, let's actually look at the function. Step in 2, step in 2. Okay. Enemy selected is 0. Yep. So it's not selecting the right enemy for this. Is it selecting the right enemy on the second one? Nope. So that means that even the second enemy is not going to do the right animation. So it's gonna be darn it, I forgot to turn off the breakpoint. Take that off. Take that off, take that off. So then it should be that the second enemy is also going to play the block animation. Yep. Okay. So it was always looking at the first enemy. It was always looking at the first enemy's stats. It wasn't looking at the second or the third. So the last video, when I made this function, I was worried that it would not be doing the correct enemy select. And apparently that is what it seems to be doing. Now, as for why, because the macro should still be working just fine. Unless I do a toggle point on that. It probably involves... So yeah, enemy selected gets set for issue damage. So not until damage is... Okay, that's what it was. So when I call issue damage, that's when I pick up the enemy that is selected. And that's when I call the endurance check. It's inside one of these macros. But over here, when I'm running the attack up, I haven't issued damage yet. So the enemy select is not picked up. But that's okay. I know how to fix that. Because enemy select is a variable that's in my battle manager. So all I have to do is in this function get an input. Well, let me have the same name. It does. That's why I was confused why it didn't before. So in the function, it's going to go by the input, what's being put inside the function. And that's not straight at all. There we go. There we go. All right, so now the function is going to provide the enemy selected. So now that means back here, hey, look at this. We got this nice enemy selected that I can input. So all I gotta do, enemy selected, is just drop it right here. There you go. So now it should be getting the correct enemy selected. And you see, this is why you play test after you implement something so that you can double check to make sure that it works. Because I was not noticing that it wasn't doing the right enemy, but now it should be. So I'm going to pick on number 3 like I was before. Block. And now it should be a hit. Nope. Okay. So it's still not selecting the right enemy. Enemy selected is 0. Sorry, I'm thinking. Okay, so I need to find references of enemy selected. Set enemy selected. That's when it's running, yeah, when it's going back. I could have swore that enemy selected gets updated here at confirm enemy. Enemy chosen. Set enemy selector index. Okay, do I just need to do enemy chosen then? Yeah, so enemy selected is actually getting pulled by enemy selector index. But yet I still have enemy selected here. I think that's just for that. Yes. Okay, so this variable was actually the wrong variable because this is only being used for when the player attacks, and when the enemy attacks the player and moves back. That's what that variable is being used for. This one, good news is I still have the right thing to do. What was it called? Enemy selector index. Okay, now it should be the right one. Yeah, let's do the breakpoint, because if it says enemy 2, then I know it works and I don't have to worry about. I'm still going to do it just to look at it, but at least I will know for a fact that it works. It works. All right. Okay, so how did I know that it was supposed to be this enemy selector index instead of the other one? That's because I created a skill with the third stance that allows the player to select multiple enemies to attack. They can select 2 enemies. They can say, I want to attack this guy and I want to attack that guy. So I had to make that into an array called enemy chosen array, which stores the enemy selector index. So I did this months ago and I just remembered it from seeing it. That's why I was like, oh, okay, so I'm actually pulling my enemy that is selected from here instead of the other variable. So that's how I was able to figure that out. Okay, so now I will see block on the third enemy and hit when I should. So there's block. We've been here before. Let's see if we're successful this time. Hey, there's hit. All right. So we are good on that. And hit. So there we go. Okay, so implementing new attack animations in Unreal, done. Because now I got my attacks, I got my new attacks, I got my new follow-up attack. So there we go. Now, you know, the attack animation, it's a prototype. That's why it's not colored in. It's just to kind of look at it, see how it looks. So I'm just going to kind of run it a couple of times just to kind of get a feel for, you know, if I truly do like it. And I think I do. I like how I built the new like movement of the player rather than, you know, just the, you know, back and forth. You know, it actually looks like he teleports in front of him. I like setting up the follow-up attack, and I think that looks pretty cool. I will be like happy, and I know I've mentioned this in the other videos, but it's like I'll be happy when like I can get like, you know, like some weight behind the attacks, which is going to involve like camera shaking and camera zoom in. I think a good example, I've mentioned other examples before, but I think another good example is Darkest Dungeon. Like when Darkest Dungeon does an attack, it like zooms in real fast and like, you know, really like, oh, like they hit the enemy, and it like puts a lot of weight behind the attack. So it's like I'm initially liking how this is looking, but it's like I'm not going to feel like, oh man, this looks great until I see that part, till I start getting to implementing that part. All right, so I'm good to say that that part is checked off. And so my second item was going to be drawing more prototype art, so that's what I will do. But first I will take a break, get some more water, maybe about roughly between 3 to 5 minutes. And I do not have a be right back screen, so that's going to be next video. Get to see a nice be right back. Oh, let me do this real quick. Boom. We have did it. All right, be right back. Alright, I am back. So, I'm going to go ahead and move on from Unreal to go to Aesprite. And I am going to basically do a reverse of the attack dash. So I have the attack dash, but now I need to actually have him dash back. Which honestly, I might just do a reversal. Just reverse the frames. I might just do that, actually. Let's see how it looks. So I need to call this okay. Is there a reverse option? Reverse frames? Yep. Well, the dust particles are obviously incorrect. Something about the movement doesn't seem right either. But maybe it's just the dust particles. If I turn them off. Is it the same? And he is moving. Yeah, I mean, he is moving back. I think I need to adjust his like running lines, his running blur lines. I don't think it should be going that direction. No, I think that's all it is. I think the blur lines are going in the wrong direction. They should be going opposite. Okay. So I guess I will kind of work backwards on this. Yeah. And say, here's his silhouette. And he needs to be coming from this direction. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I feel like the blur lines should be this way. This should probably be less exaggerated. Let me start over. Yeah, probably less exaggerated because this is when the movement's kind of ending. This is actually my first time kind of working backwards like this. Yes, just a little bit, not as exaggerated. When he's kind of coming back, you should have more of a form. Color am I using? This color? Yeah. Yep. Okay, and then on this one, so I kind of take this one and put it right there. So now this one can be a little bit more where he loses his form. Can't really make it out, but with a little bit more exaggerated blur lines. That one's pretty exaggerated. Three frames? Is that on? No, I did 4. Well, really the fourth one was just mostly dust particles. I have like these little things here, but honestly that's kind of whatever. That probably won't be there when I'm doing the final design for it. Yeah, so really it's 3 frames. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Gone. So 1, 2, 3, back. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's much better. That's the movement that I was looking for. So now the dust particles, those are not correct. Okay, so now with the dust, so I got that start of the movement. So same philosophy, just, you know, right here. What color was I using? Not that it really matters because it's just a prototype, but there you go. So starts gathering right here. Gets very exaggerated. Then slowly starts dissipating. And I kind of got that a little too low, but it's all right. Yeah. And that's the last frame, right? Yeah. Move it up a little bit more like that. All right, let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's a little too big. It's not perfect, but does the job for now. Don't really like the dust being in front of the sword. Yeah, definitely don't like the dust being in front of the sword. Yeah, this is going to be one of those things where I just got to make sure I don't have the dust in front. I don't really need to make it its own layer, just kind of like make sure it doesn't go in front of it. Yeah. Kind of calm down on the lift here just a little bit, not too much. Yeah, I mean, it's nice and quick. It's 3 frames, you know, as long as it's something that's there. Okay. All right, so I think this will be where I'm going to be ending the stream, but let's go ahead and get it added to Unreal. It just made me realize, it's like, why do I have 3 frames of nothing? So this is only going to be 4 frames to come back. Yeah, I guess so. We'll see how that looks. And that's because I had extra dust particles. All right. I guess I can do like a frame or 2 of... I'm just going to do 1 extra frame of particles. So I can make this one a little bit bigger. And then, yeah, and then that a little higher, just a little bit of movement without actually being in front of the sword. There we go. So now it's 5 frames. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's better. All right, this is return. Dash, return, don't need dash anymore. Sprite sheet, why do you still say dash? Why does it still say dash? You are return, sprite sheet, return, there we go. And this is 150 by 150. Jump back to Unreal, textures, get the sprite sheet in there. White paper 2D, extract, 150. Sprites, these would go in the stance 1. Attack dash. Attack. Return. Create the flip book. Flip book. Yes. Attack return. S1. Here we go. 10 frames per second. And add it to the flip books. There you go. Now we got that there. Structure, blueprint, enumerator first, actually. Animation states, new, attack, return, there it is right there. I gotta add it to the structure. I got this nice little hit animation that I haven't added yet. New variable. Attack return, go up. Paper flip book. All right, that's now part of the structure. So now I can add that here. Boom. Get stance, turn, okay, so it should be able to run that animation now when I call it. Where do I want to call it? I want to call it after the attack, run back, run back. And I already made him teleport. Yes. And how does it look right now? When he teleports back, I think he just literally yeah. Yep. So at the run back, maybe I play that. I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that. Make some space. I'm going to try it before the delay, and then if that doesn't look right, I'll try it after. Update animation. Oh, you know what? Where is... attack up branch. Update animation instance. So I should actually call it right here, attack return. Okay, so attack return gets called here. And then here, update animation needs to be instance. And it's gonna need to be after the delay. Pretty sure. Pretty sure. Move you down a little bit, move you right there. All right, let's see. Hey, that looked pretty good. What about with the follow-up? Yeah. Yep. All right, looks good. All right, save that. I can move that down a little bit. You can go right there a little bit. All right, we're getting somewhere. Well, that is where I will end the stream today. So next stream, I will be doing more attack animations. So now I have to do the attacks for down, left, and right. Because now I got up and wanted to put it in to make sure that I could get the functionality that I wanted. And right now it looks like I do. So now I can start doing the others. And once I have all of them, then I know that I can implement them and they will work. So